feet, I bet. The Pledge of Allegiance, yes, for those of you who've been following along and been to 150,000 Rotary meetings. You're just seeing if I'm doing it in the right order. Well, we got this slide up. And Norm, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, so before we have our song, if you're a Rotarian and you don't have your badge on, that'd be a nice thing to do right now because it's the last thing. Because then their badge is sitting right there. You walked right past them. Yeah. Oh, they weren't there before, they'll say. Some people will say that. But of course, what we're going to do later in the meeting is fine those people who don't have their badges. So I figured I'd give you a chance to put your badge on. Is that fair? And so we're going to have music up next. Oh boy, the room has gotten loose here. And as a totally new thing for the musicians, they've actually got music this time. So this is very, very serious. We're taking it up an enormous leap here. So with that in mind, who's going to introduce the song?
This is a song about dreams and determination. And that's exactly what our guest speaker does. Provides an environment in which people with big dreams and determination, she'll help them make their dreams come true.
You're hired.
Makes that little old man think he'll move that rubber tree plant. Anyone knows the land can't move a rubber tree plant, but he's got high hopes. He's got high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky hopes. So anytime you're getting low, instead of letting go, just remember that. There goes another rubber tree plant. There goes another rubber tree plant. Once there was a silly old ram, thought he'd punch a hole in the dam. No one would make that ram scram. He had button that dam 'cause he had high hopes. He had high hopes. He had high apple pie in the sky. Oh, so anytime you're feeling that, instead of feeling that, just remember that ram. Oops, there goes a million kilowatt dam. There goes a million kilowatt dam. Two, three. All problems just a toy balloon. They'll be blessed soon. They'll be going pop. Oops, there goes another problem curve pop. There goes another problem curve pop. There goes another problem curve pop. Curve pop.
We were so close to being a contender. So close. We missed it by that much. Yes, eventually. All right, Trudy, are you still up here?
Yeah.
Are you good to talk for the day?
Yeah.
For just a moment, Trudy's going to wander and find some deep thought.
I just can't make it up.
Ensconced on paper.
Well, I could make it up. You won't want to hear it.
No, this is a better way to do it. All right, here we go.
So I don't know exactly why I signed up for these, but because I have very few thoughts throughout the day. This week I decided to talk about the importance of friendship. Dave and I lived in Menlo Park until 3 years ago, and we lived there for 45 years. We had lots and lots of friends. But we moved here kind of late in our, as our retirement. And because of Rotary, we now have lots of new friends. And then maybe in a few years I won't remember you and you'll all be new friends again. But like many of us, I also have friends who I've known since I was little. And even though I don't see them all the time, whenever I do see them, we pick up right where we were. And that is an amazing kind of friendship. It's a vital aspect of all of our lives. Depending on it provides a sense of belonging, support, and shared experiences, which again, we get here. True friends are those who stand by you through thick and thin, celebrating successes and offering comfort in adversity. Some of the key aspects of friendships that I have noticed in my friendship and my life is acceptance, understanding, loyalty and support, open communication, which is really important, shared values and interests, and laughter and joy. So whether you have new friends or lifelong friends, it's important to keep touch and keep those friendships healthy. They will make all of our lives better.
Friendship.
Yes.
And many of us in this room have a very good friend who, when we were going through the thought for the day, it dawned on me that this very good friend is the one that originated the thought for the day. Okay? Does anybody know who that was?
Who was that?
It was John Lynn.
Oh.
Okay? So John had several people come up to him and say, you know, we're not all the same religion, etc. And we used to do prayers. We did prayers. And the prayers were Christian prayers, right? So John took it on himself to change it to a thought for the day. And he got some flack for that too, because some of the club members weren't happy about changing from a prayer to a thought for the day. But we've had a thought for the day ever since.
Wow.
And my thought for the day is to let you all know that that card that's going around is for John Lynn, because he's not well. And on Friday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning, he told his wife he couldn't breathe. So they called an ambulance. He was taken to the hospital. He's in the hospital now at Valley Care. And they're doing all kinds of tests to figure out what's wrong. I know that Paul and Mike went to visit him on Monday. Nancy and I were there on Sunday. Visitors probably aren't encouraged because he probably wouldn't know who you were, okay? So it's very sad because John was one of the most capable men that I have ever known. And as Mike Thompson knows, we've done hundreds and hundreds of rounds of golf with John, and he was a very good golfer. So anyway, he's not well. I think we should, if we could all say prayers for John.
Or a thought for the day?
It would be excellent. Pardon me?
Could we say a thought for the day, too?
You know, Mark, yes.
Okay.
We can say, in honor of John, we could say a thought for the day, since he was the innovator of a thought for the day. So anyway, I wanted to say that.
And just because I'm in such a good mood, at the President's discretion, we won't fine you for that interruption. All right, our meeting front line folks, our Spur reporter is Linda. Where's Linda? There we go, writing away. Our Spur publisher is Kathy Coyle. Our photographer is Sonia Sheffield. Where's Sonia? Are you taking pictures? Have you got my good side? All right, there we go. Audio visuals, Don. Don right there at the controls. Our greeter was Jay Davis. Was Jay greeting today? No. Did he? No? That does seem like a font. Yeah. All right, well, welcome everyone.
Oh, Joel took care of it.
Did Joel say hello to everyone? Did everyone get greeted?
Yes, he
Well, talk about service above self. Our president-elect is there working the room, building support. You've already got the job, Joel. Good job. Alrighty, moving on. Our sergeants at arms are Trex Donovan and Bob. We've got one of the two. But
everyone's back here.
On this
The other
side,
arm's here.
oh, you're distributing to the two sides of the room because rowdiness may break out at any point. Well done. All right, well, the cops could learn something from you. Boy, I'm sure if we bring them back in, they'll be impressed. Our web crew is Kathy Coyle. Public outreach is Kelly Bowers, who tells us, is Kelly in the room tonight? She is not, but our Facebook account, which had been banned as being infiltrated by Russia, now, because of changes, it's back online. It's better than ever. Yay! We went through a long certification process. That had nothing to do with Russia, by the way, or how our government's reacting to that. It had to do with hard work, turning in a bunch of paper to get ourselves certified. And Christine, your videography mean us.
And it'll be better this week, I promise.
Yay! Well, we'll all have to take a look. All right, up next. Introduction of visiting Rotarians and guests. So first of all, if you're a Rotarian and you're not a member of our club, could you stand up to be introduced? Any visiting Rotarian? Oh yes, we've got some.
I'm here again.
You are.
I'm pleased to introduce, who needs no introduction, Bonnie Schmidt from the Night Owl Club. And she's a heavy in the current offering, so.
Yes.
Very cool. All right, welcome.
Hi, Bonnie.
Oh, we're gonna have you stand up and get your picture taken. Because you gotta be quick on the draw on the photographs.
Stand up, sit down, kneel, pay your tithe. Stand up, sit
That's
down,
a
kneel.
different.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
But it is worldwide, and they do a lot of service, so I see the confusion there. But way fewer popes in Rotary.
In rodeo, yes.
Okay, now guests of Rotarians. If you're not our speaker, but otherwise you're a guest, please stand up. And then I have the Rotarian next to you stand up and introduce you. All right, in the back, Joel.
Once again, I would like to introduce my wife, Mary Martha, who is a longtime school teacher in the Livermore Public Schools. Say hi to Mary Martha.
Hi, Mary Martha.
President Mark and Rotarians and guests. I would like to introduce my wife, Carol, and she is in the inner wheel, and then she does some things for the
Outer wheel too.
she does some things for the opera, not the opera, the Livermore
Symphony.
Orchestra.
Hi, Carol.
So I didn't know whether I should introduce her as a Rotarian, which she is not. But she knows probably a quarter of the people in this room. Zakia Ali came to the United States from Pakistan when she was 6 years old to live with her grandparents here in Livermore. And she grew up and was very kind to people. She took care of Ann Wieskamp. She took care of Tom Brown, Kathy Brown's husband. She took care of John Shirley and Ron Koopman. And now she's helping Kathy Streeter. So she is beloved by many people in this room, and we're very glad to have her. She came just to say hello to the people that she hadn't seen in a while. She used to come to lots of Rotary meetings.
Hi,
Jim Douglas, and I've got my wife Leslie with me, and
I need to go.
she watches grandkids.
President Market, fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce Pastor Kim Yon. Kim Jong, and she's the pastor of Asbury United Methodist Church, just a mile that way. So, anyway, welcome.
Welcome.
She's having to actually know being a member. I like that. Okay, any other? Yes. Oh, very good.
It's a race.
You lost, Joel.
Fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce my wife, a publisher of Independent. Started 62 years ago. She was 10 years old.
Yeah.
We've been married for 44 years.
All right, next slide. Nope, we're going the wrong direction. There we go. Announcements. Let's start at the top here. We've got a few unscheduled announcements, which I should find people for, but I haven't been. All right, what's up first here on our list? Okay, Rotarian Foundation. Yeah, I see you. You can stand, and we'll do you next after we do this one here. All right, So, if you are helping somebody turn in an application to the Rotarian Foundation, we are down to the final hours of it here. So, March 1st is coming faster than you. There are fewer days in February, oddly enough. So don't plan to turn it in on the 29th or the 30th or the 31st of February. It will be too late. So make sure that your agency that you're sponsoring gets their application in and gets their fair share of the funds that are available. Again, you're needing to look over their shoulder. If you have any questions about that, an email went out to the entire club on January 30th, and you can look up. And mainly that is just make sure that they read the application carefully and have filled out all of the necessary information. Okay, now we will do. Now, how long is this? Is this a long announcement?
Sure. This is going to be a really quick one. The Inner Wheel came, I think it was last week, to ask for support for our foundation, the Inner Wheel USA Foundation. I just want you to know that between your club and the morning club and the ladies Inner Wheel Club, we raised almost $1,300.
Wow.
You all are part of a very generous group here, so well done on that. All right. Now, I don't know how many of you have been following along, but we have a crab feed coming up. So if this is the first you've heard about it, you do need to see your doctor because you have memory issues. We've announced this every week since the beginning of time. But we're getting close because March 22nd is sooner than you think. So Bob, where are we and what do we need to be doing?
Okay, well, the crab feed meetings are getting more intense. That means the date is getting closer. If you like blood sports, come tomorrow night. Next slide. Okay, so just to give you a taste of what's coming for some of the high-scale live auction and silent auction items, we've got a week in a three-bed, three-bath Palm Desert condo on a golf course. And I know that's a really nice place because it's my place. So. And also there's a flight in Doris over the Golden Gate Bridge. Is Doris a plane? Doris is a plane. Oh. I wish, yeah. And your pilot will also is a very handsome young guy. We have some special jewelry from Lance Cavallari. JR has donated a 4-hour training session to learn about body work. And I actually think I sold that today. So one of my buddies who's interested in cars. And Trex has donated tree service, $1,500 worth, not only once, but he's donated 2 of them. Woo! So when you get your budget ready, because trust me, the tree service he does, I've hired him, is really, really good. Okay, next.
So can I chop down one of my neighbor's trees, or do I have to talk to them first?
You have to talk to Trex. All right. Okay. So the barrel booths, when I made this slide, we only had 3 bottles. About 15 minutes later, Irv dropped off 4 bottles. Somebody gave me a bottle tonight. There's 4 bottles in somebody's trunk. And I think somebody else has a bottle they're giving me tonight. So we're starting to build up the booths. You got one? Okay. Okay. And everybody who's a member of the crab feed committee, stand up. Look around. That's who you can give your bottle of booze to. They will get it to the right place, okay?
Really? Are they trustworthy?
They don't look that good. So the one thing we still need are some high-ends. We need 7 high-end silent auction items. Okay, so 7 more high-end auction items. Not something you dig out of the closet with all this dust that nobody wants. Something really high-end, $150 worth. It can still be in your closet, it just has to be high-end covered in dust. Okay, and gift certificate work. So tomorrow night we meet, I think we only have 4 more meetings left at my house, and there's the address.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, whose microphone is that? Sheila's? Is that yours? Thank you. Good work. Vice President. Nice job on that. All right. Is Yvonne in the room tonight? She is not, but this is a reminder, again, if you are helping out on International House, it is just now 4 weeks away, just a little bit more than that. So March 29th and 30th, including all of the wonderful things we do for the international students there. If you're interested in helping out and you haven't let Yvonne know, please let her know now. All right, up next. Phil Dean's Memorial Service is coming up on March 18th. Mark your calendar on that. So Phil was a member of the club, a past president, and there'll be a good time sort of remembering all the wonderful things that we and Phil did together, and then a bunch of things that Phil did and didn't involve us. So go and find out on March 18th.
Mark, could I add one thing?
You can, if you can get a microphone to you, Kathy, because we're very big on microphones. And boy, Joel, you really got me again. You're like over 2.
I'm just not fast enough.
I just can't use that machine.
I just wanted to say that, I see Muriel quite often, and she reminded me that, or advised me that the service is actually on the stage. It's not in the seating in the theater itself. Because I think so there's that, and I just wanted to let you know so that if you want to go, you should get there early.
Very good. And if you've ever wanted to be on the stage at the bankhead, now is your chance. All right, up next. Next week, we've got Jeff Watts and TopCon. TopCon, we've heard from TopCon every few years, and it's always an amazing presentation. So make sure, and of course, today's speaker is Yolanda Fintschenko. Whoa, where did she go? She left. She back? Oh, so dang, it's very sensitive. So, yes. Oh, and you wanted to say something, didn't you, Dennis? You were supposed to catch my attention before.
I guess I got your attention.
There we go.
A very, very quick story. It turns out Adele and I were leaving the house to go for a walk, and our neighbor pulls up, and they roll down the window, and their son, who's in the 3rd grade, waves a book at me and said, "I just got a free book at school." I said, "Oh, you must be a 3rd grader. Rotary Club gave you that book." And then Dave and Trudy happened by, and we all shared it. It's a wonderful story. He was so excited, he just couldn't hold it in. He had to show everybody. And I needed to share it.
We've got work to share.
President Mark,
Yes.
may I make just a quick
Immediate past president.
thank you. Just so you all know, so I don't get blamed for this.
You may get blamed anyway.
I know. I am the only one that have bought raffle tickets so far. So.
Really? So if you win, for example, you're just saying.
Just saying. Okay.
Yeah, that does seem like a very anemic response. Here. Literally, so let's actually discuss how a raffle raises money. Okay, so a raffle raises money when you all buy tickets. And there are more tickets than there are winners. So that's how it makes money. See, we give out very few winners. We collect a lot of money. That's why it's called a raffle. So maybe you all were a little unclear on the concept of what the point of a raffle is. Yeah, so.
And there's the line
All
of
right.
the new raffle.
So we'll here we go. Wow, we have guilted guests into buying raffle tickets. So nicely done. Yeah, no, okay. So stop being disruptive there. All right, and our speaker today is Yolanda Fintschenko. Sometimes I can actually say your last name, Yolanda. Fintschenko. There we go. That's closer. All right, and who's introducing Yolanda this?
I would be delighted.
Oh, President-elect Pat, come on up.
Thank you, President Mark.
What's that? Oh, we got. You did, oh, so you didn't talk to AV and get that actually on the agenda? Well, I make it live. Let me do that real quick. Yeah. So I'm gonna have you stand here real good, Pat.
Just a minute, Pat.
Just a minute, because we have something amazing and fun to do.
Hold
All right,
everything.
Come on up here.
Okay, this will be quick. So I need.
Use the mic. Very close to it.
Sonia, could you come up? And Mary, could you come up, please? So we have a new member to introduce today, and the sponsor is Sonia, and the new member is What's your name again? So this is my wife, Mary Sweeney, and so I will let Sonia do the honors.
Okay, so welcome to Rotary. Here's your new Rotary hat that you will wear every day. And then you have a beautiful vest that is really in style this year. This is another thing that you will be wearing every day for the first year.
Microphone.
Okay, ready?
Okay, picture president. Get a picture here.
Oh,
yeah.
Welcome. There we go. Okay. Oh, look at you.
So sponsors and new members get this nice bottle of wine. Here we go.
Oh, we know why this happened.
So thank you. Pat, back to you.
All right, like a well-oiled machine, you're up next.
Thank you, President Mark. So fellow Rotarians and guests, we are delighted to have Dr. Yolanda Fintschenko as our guest speaker this evening. She is currently the iGATE Innovation Hub and Daybreak Labs Executive Director, serving since October 2022. Yolanda is a scientist who began creating marketing strategies to sell products to scientists and engineers way back in 2015, having co-founded 2 digital marketing businesses, Fixate.io, is that correct, Yolanda? Fixate.io? Yes, that's right. And Founder Traction. That kind of has a double meaning, doesn't it? Founder Traction. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Prior to this, she served as Director of Marketing and Sales for Lab Smith and Marketing Manager of Thermo Fisher Scientific, and was a manager and scientist at Sandia National Labs for 9 years. Yolanda's field of technical expertise is, got to focus on this one, okay, microfluidics, which she's going to tell you about. She holds 3 patents, is co-editor of the book Microscale Analytic Systems, and, hold on to your seats, has 41 publications, including peer-reviewed journal articles, presentations, and book chapters in the field of microfluidics, microseparations, pesticide analysis, and lab education. Yolanda graduated with her Bachelor of Science in Chemistry in 1992 from Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, and she received her PhD in bioanalytical chemistry from University of Kansas. Go Jayhawks! 1997. Yeah, absolutely. In addition to Yolanda's professional work, she currently serves as a City of Livermore Planning Commissioner. All the time to do all this. Holy smokes. Her hobbies include, Her hobbies include running, swimming, cooking, and writing. Yolanda lives in Livermore with her husband, Andy Vance. They raised 2 children, Peter and Lydia, who graduated from Granada High in 2017 and later 2021. Please join me in welcoming to the podium here, Yolanda Fintschenko.
Yolanda, unfortunately, we're out of time. So if you just want to answer a couple questions, no.
Thank you very much, Pat, for the kind introduction. Thank you, Mark, also for making me aware of Rotary, and and I gotta be honest, I invited myself to speak, but he was a good sport about it.
That's the best kind of speaker.
Yeah.
And also many thanks to Don Wentz for his help with AV, and all of you for attending. So I'm gonna play with this. I'm a very soft talker, so you're definitely gonna want the mic to hit me in a good direction. Everyone can hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
So what I'd like to talk to you about is our work at iGATE in promoting innovation to create a vibrant economy here in the Tri-Valley built on science-based startups. We are an economic development nonprofit dedicated to building economic vibrancy in the community and have been doing this in the Tri-Valley since 2010. And you'll see one of your members, former council member Bob Carling, is one of our founding organizers and board members, and was very recently on my board. We are primarily funded by these founding members, the City of Livermore, Pleasanton, Dublin, the Town of Danville, Alameda County Board of Supervisors, Lawrence Livermore National Labs, and Sandia National Labs. And we are gratefully now accepting donations from corporate sponsors, our first one being Stanford Healthcare Tri-Valley, and a number of event sponsors who have supported the work that we do. Our mission, so what I hope you'll get out of this is an understanding of who we are, what we do, how we do it, and how you can help. And fundamentally, what we're doing is fulfilling this mission to create economic vibrancy by helping science-based startups to succeed because of data that we had from the Kauffman Foundation for Entrepreneurship that shows that the greatest amount of job growth comes from companies that are 6 years and younger. The highest quality jobs, and read with that, salaries, come from science-based startups. So that's why we are leaning into this so heavily. How do we do it? We essentially have three sort of categories of activities. First and foremost, we offer a physical space. In 2022, we opened the Tri-Valley's first and only hard tech incubator for early stage companies. That means they are seed and pre-seed. They're very far from revenue, so all of their activities are to de-risk their technology in order to get follow-on funding so they can scale, succeed, and grow here in the Tri-Valley. We offer them co-working lab and office space, as well as access to equipment, and focus on life sciences, climate tech, and deep tech companies. Even when we're completely full, so our facilities here in Livermore, it's off of South Front Road, just across the street from Harley-Davidson. Even when we're completely full, we can at most serve 10 companies, which isn't really sufficient to create the kind of vibrancy we're looking for across the Tri-Valley. There are companies that are at different stages that are still startups that need support, and companies working in areas like software as a service or artificial intelligence that don't need access to the kind of facilities we offer at Daybreak Labs. So what a lot of our activities are to curate a startup community. We do this through an initiative called Startup Tri-Valley. Startup Tri-Valley is building ecosystems around industries that we want to encourage innovation in here in the Tri-Valley. Those industries are artificial intelligence, climate technology, women's health, and life sciences. We do this primarily through events. What events allow us to do is to do exactly what Rotary International does, which is create fellowship, to create community, to create connections that are necessary to build out these very complicated ecosystems and support companies as they grow. The other way we do this is through content, and this allows us to brand our region to ourselves. Not everyone in the Tri-Valley knows that they could work at a Tri-Valley company, that this is a great place to start their company. And then of course we want to brand it to the greater Bay Area region as a fantastic place to start a science-based startup. We do this through a podcast called the Startup Tri-Valley Podcast, and we just dropped our latest episode yesterday, and you will see more about this. So I'd like to give you a little taste of the impact that we've had, and talk to you after that about our vision and what we're doing in the next year. So in our last fiscal year, we saw 11 companies, and starting in this fiscal year, we hosted 3 new companies. We've seen these companies raise over $40 million of investment with 24 jobs supported and created. 4 companies have actually raised enough money to locate in private space outside of Daybreak Labs, 3 of them in Livermore, 1 of them in Pleasanton. And we have also been able to support workforce development. This is the first time we've done that. It is kind of our third pillar of how we do what we do, and it is only recently that we have been able to do this by hosting high school students for field trips. We hosted an intern from Las Positas College, and then we also have had a couple of teacher externships, not only with us, but with our member companies and the companies that are also located in our building, S2 Genomics and Buzzkill Labs. In terms of Startup Tri-Valley initiative, last year we saw over 500 attendees and a variety of events. We had, for the first time, we hosted with the City of Dublin an AI series, and we saw over 100 attendees there. We also host much larger events. We call these summits. We had our 2nd annual Tri-Valley AI Summit, which focused on transparency, bias, privacy, and guardrails in artificial intelligence, helping how we can make AI serve us. We also had this was our 2nd annual Tri-Valley AI Summit. We also had our 5th annual Tri-Valley Life Sciences Summit. And then for the first time ever, we hosted with the Livermore Lab Foundation, Lawrence Livermore National Labs, Las Positas College, Innovation Tri-Valley, we were able to co-host an event on decarbonizing our economy, and it is a follow-on to this event that was hosted here in Livermore at Las Positas College. That is our this year's season 5 first podcast episode. And so for our podcast, we launched our 5th season this year. We have 20 episodes total. We are clawing our way to 2,000 downloads, and I'm counting on all of you to get us over the edge. And with 35% of our audience coming from the Tri-Valley cities. And so towards that end, take out your phones. I'm not kidding. There's a QR code here. You can actually go to our podcast webpage, and you can see all of our podcasts. Our latest one is the one on decarbonizing our economy. I expect after everyone does this and shares the word, we are going to hit our 2,000 mark. So thank you in advance. In addition to the content and the events that have actually fostered community, we have seen 19 pieces of earned press, most of which comes from our events. We've had one that has come actually from our onboarding of our entrepreneur in residence, who I just recorded a episode with today. And then our Daybreak Labs companies are making news. In addition, we just recently had 2 pieces of earned press that came from our MOU with Las Positas College to announcing our commitment to working together to create an innovation campus on Las Positas College campus. So what will we be doing in 2025? So obviously we spend a lot of time trying to get people in the same room, and let me tell you why. Today I was talking to, on our podcast, Reem Maharat. She's a resident of the city of Pleasanton. She's actually a serial entrepreneur. Her last company in Pleasanton, Ramen ID, was acquired for $20 million. Last year, if you know anything about the life sciences industry, she was working in diagnostics. This is unheard of. There's almost no companies are exiting right now. She had a successful exit. Because of a Daybreak Labs Lunch and Learn we met, she was feeling very isolated as a founder. She started coming to all our meetings and started to mentor some of our entrepreneurs. As a result of that connection, She became excited about starting her next company. The ink wasn't even dry on her sale before of that company before she started talking to me about how she could help Daybreak Labs and how she could start a company at Daybreak Labs. She proceeded not only to come and accept our offer as entrepreneur in residence, start her company, but also through one of our Tri-Valley Life Sciences Summit and becoming an advisor and getting to meet all of our advisors, met 4 of her co-founders. So this is exactly how the ecosystem building works, and I think it's a fantastic illustration of why we spend so much time doing events, expanding events. So we are expanding into investor events, trying to add more summit events, and add a pitch event that we hope will at some point become a student-run event. We're also envisioning having an accelerator. We are currently an incubator, meaning companies come and founders come to not only have space, but to learn how to build their business, how to attract funding, how to essentially create their vision. What we don't offer is money. So we don't take equity, and we do charge for the use of the space. We charge to cover our costs. However, what we would really like to see, and especially in this funding climate where early stage, meaning seed and pre-seed companies are having a very difficult time getting a first check, especially as a first-time founder, is that we can offer them money. Our first step is to raise a fund from corporate donations that is simply to award grants to deserving founders, and eventually a true equity fund that we would like to see in partnership with Las Positas College become a student-run fund. And then finally, we're constantly looking at how we can create a sustainable operations. Our vision is to eventually have a student co-op based incubator so we can keep our overhead low and continue to overlap the networks that get built around science-based startups with students early in their education who may lack generational professional networks, as well as second stage space focused on specific incubation areas for companies that are maybe ready to move out of a co-working space, but not ready to take on a 10-year lease. And we are hoping to expand into hubs in the cities of Livermore, Pleasanton, and Dublin. So this is our grand vision, but we get there taking smaller steps. So in 2025, we have actually added a life sciences series by joining our artificial intelligence series with the life sciences series. On March 19th, we will have an exciting presentation from a local innovator, Dr. Neil Ray, who's the founder and CEO of Radiant Oximetry, and his Chief Science Officer, Paul Stetson. They have done something remarkable. They're addressing what's called a rare population. That rare population is mothers and fetuses. When fetuses are in distress, right now that distress is currently detected by what's a fetal heart rate monitor. Anyone who's been in the room with someone who's had a baby or had a baby knows that this is a particularly poor diagnostic. It is statistically the same as tossing a coin. Based on that data, decisions about emergency C-sections are made. This is one of the leading causes of maternal death. Dr. Neil Ray is a pediatric anesthesiologist who was frustrated by this, attended a conference where he heard about someone who had developed technology that was detecting oxygen in the brain and said, if you can go through the skull, why can't you detect this in a pregnant mother? And so he was, because of the talent that exists here in the Tri-Valley, he met his COO from Nellcor Corporation, an oximetry company, and they went on to innovate this remarkable technology that is almost impossible to test in clinical trials because you cannot put a fetus or a mom in distress. Paul Stetson, their Chief Science Officer, came up with a way that the FDA approved to use AI and machine learning to create a digital twin. And they are currently going through clinical trials for this rare and underserved population as a result. So that's what he'll be talking about, and this is the kind of thing that we like to highlight in the Tri-Valley, because Neil is not just a founder and a CEO, he's our neighbor. We also have added a summit event with SICE. SICE is very generously hosting a Women's Health Summit on May 14th. And we will continue with our Tri-Valley AI Summit in August and Tri-Valley Life Science Summit in October. We're also adding a series of climate events, and with Las Positas College, an internship speaker series where we will bring founders onto the college campus to talk to students about career opportunities in their companies, how to prepare, and talk about internships. And finally, for our founders themselves, we're actually, of course, focusing on helping them through our continued programs, introducing them to investors, to mentors, like Kareem Murat, who's both a founder and as an experienced founder, an entrepreneur in residence. We are working very hard, as I said, to create an accelerator program, initially through grants. And then an interesting twist, not only are we working with Las Positas College to educate their students, but they are working with us to educate founders on how to work with the college and not effectively use Las Positas College as a pipeline with internships and how to manage those internships. And so I'd like to end with our big mission and vision. We just announced our MOU to work to create an innovation campus at Las Positas College. We are hoping to work with them so we can expand economic opportunity and mobility for the student population by exposing them to the kinds of networks that get created around science-based startups. And with that, I will thank you.
Questions?
I will.
Okay, well, Sheila's the first person to get to somebody with a question.
That was a great information. I appreciate it. I'd like to know what the criteria is for acceptance into the incubator program. Do you have to be pre-seed and you have seed money, or an A round, or?
So we will accept, so it's typically seed and pre-seed, and I wouldn't say we don't exclude someone if they have an A round, but they would typically exclude themselves, and let me tell you why. So the pre-seed and seed money means you're pre-revenue. That investment is used still primarily to de-risk the technology itself as you're scaling it into a product. Series A money is typically because you are relatively close to revenue. So that means you're actually working on scaling your company to be able to create and capture the market. So your actual technical de-risking has gone down. The company may still have very aggressive technical goals, but the productization goals. And that is often hard to do with shared equipment and space. Not necessarily impossible, but it can be very difficult because the focus of the company is much more towards getting a product out the door. And so we wouldn't say no to a Series A company. What I would expect would happen is a Series A company might locate with us while they're looking for private space and then move as soon as they can, because it would possibly be difficult for them to achieve their goals over the long term as a Series A, with that Series A funding in our space.
So I know most startups unfortunately fail.
Yes.
What?
And I know a lot of successful entrepreneurs say they have a long history of failures before they hit a success. Do you do anything to help people exit from failure?
Exit from failure. Yes, we do. I would say so one of the things that we help our founders with, first of all, is by creating this community. Very often the kind of founder that that we're working with, well, most founders like founding things. That's fundamentally true. So by creating this community, one of the things that we do is we do encourage through a lot of our events, which include happy hours, for people to socialize and to build relationships with the advisors. And we have had some of our, I would call it, most effective founders have failed. And we encourage them to stay on as advisors, to continue to come to events. They, most of the time, will actually just lick their wounds and start a new company with a different person. And we've definitely seen that as well. Yeah.
Other questions?
I have one. Thank you very much for your talk. I'm just going to stand up and wave.
Oh, thank you.
My question is, I noticed on one of your slides that you had an NSF awardee and another federal grant, and I'm just wondering, since what's your funding strategy? What is the funding strategy for most of your startups? Because right now NIH is locked out and NSF is shut down, so that
that's a great
has an
question.
impact on science.
So it's so funny you should ask. I had some representatives from Congressman Swalwell's office in our district office visiting us yesterday, and we had this exact conversation. So for companies like Rushnu that are currently receiving SBIR money, that has not been turned off. So they are fine. So I did do outreach to all, not just our startups, but the other startups in the region that I've gotten to know just through all our events, and just ask the questions so I could roll that information up to Swalwell's office. And the bigger problem is going forward. So going forward, most venture firms, even those that say they're early stage, are relying on the government to fund the de-risking of the technology to a point where they want to fund it. And I raised this issue with the congressman because it's not really a partisan issue. So the reason, in my opinion, you see a sort of callous disregard for this is investors who invest in later stage companies just don't have to deal with it. So the people like Mark Andreessen, who are beating their chest and talking about their manifesto, they're unconcerned about this because it won't matter for them how that initial funding, how that initial technology got initially de-risked. But it is going to be a huge problem.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I understand that current grants, like NIH and NSF, those are stable, but it's the next round, and that's more, I guess, more impactful on universities and colleges than in business. Is that what you're saying?
It seems like it. So again, working with Congressman Swalwell's office, because we hosted an event on February 14th in advance of the NIH SBIR Omnibus, which is April 7th. And my question was, are they going to run an SBIR process? And if they are going to run it, because at that point they weren't responding to emails through their contact page because of the communication restriction, would the founder, would the applicants be able to work with the program heads at the national institutes, which is the normal way you do that? And last ditch, Asad Nigam from Representative Swalwell's office was able to get me an answer on February 13th that they were planning to run the process. They haven't, I understand, I saw the New York Times yesterday, they haven't put anything on the schedule yet in the Federal Register, but they are planning to run the process. And they will be responding to emails that have backed up from their contact page and going forward. So they were able to reassure us on that point, and that we could still communicate, or applicants could still communicate directly with program heads. So I mean, fingers crossed. But, yeah.
One more?
I would like to thank you for what you're doing. I've been with multiple startups, 3 of them exited. And I would like to ask you specifically about the $40 million that you spoke. Where this money, is it a seed money? Is it friends and family? Where this $40 million?
Most of the 40 million came from, we had a team that started with us that was a team of experienced founders. So it is not nearly as hard to raise money if you're an experienced founder. So the bulk of that money came from their Series A, and then they located in Livermore. Yeah.
All right, one last. There we go.
A little sideways from the topic, but I forgot to mention when I was introducing Zakia that she was told by many people, we wish there were more of you. And so she talked to Keith Beck. You know, Keith Beck is somewhat in the same business, having run Visiting Angels. And she now has 20 employees. So, networking works.
Okay, thank you very much. That's just tradition. We want to leave you with a bottle of Also, I wanted to note that you've now visited us 3 times, which is the minimum necessary to put an application in to become a member of the board. All right, and interested. All right, so we're going to put Paul and maybe a former council member, to follow up a little bit on that, because we'd love to have you as part of our team. So thank you very much. All right, okay, we've got tickets to announce, or A tickets, and the last 4 numbers of that ticket.
Yes, A ticket, President-elect picked it. The last 4 numbers are 5939.
5939. 5939.
Somebody's got it.
Come on now, you just bought it. Next week we are back at lunchtime at our LCC. And remember here, there's a little bit of cleanup here, but a lot less than when we're at our LCC. So just make sure you leave the place in nice shape as you head out. And be sure to hobnob just a little bit as we wrap up here. So thank you all.